it's cooler temperatures. And in Connecticut, you guys do it right. You get the temperature down there, and I lived in the Midwest growing up, so I know that feeling well. And you walk outside to that negative 15 degrees, and no kidding.
Yeah.
What's happened with the heat pump technology is in this country, we came to believe that heat pumps were really good down to 30 degrees or so, and then you better be thinking about some fossil fuel to keep you warm or electric heat. Not efficient, not comfortable, but that's the better option. These days, the Fujitsu product has a version that is going to give you 100% capacity down to negative 15 degrees. So if you buy yourself a 1-ton or a 2-ton system, you're going to be able to get all those BTUs all the way down to negative 15 and beyond. We see them into the negative 20, negative 25 range, and still somehow squeezing heat out of that outdoor air and bringing it in and keeping you at design set points. Just
it's amazing.
Fascinating how strong the technology is.
Right.
That's crazy.
How big are the units, by the way, Andrew?
Your outdoor unit is always going to be a little bit smaller than the traditional unit you might see for a traditional ducted system. We have the horizontal discharge. What that means is the fan is blowing air out the front of the unit as opposed to out the top. And that very design allows that coil to wrap around and keep that unit very thin and be very close to your house. So you have a short lot line or you don't have a lot of land cleared near a cabin, you can very easily get it right up on the patio, set it on the roof. It can go about anywhere. It's very small, very light. It can be installed in a lot of different places. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. Inside, you have a lot of options. That's something that many of your listeners, I'm sure, aren't aware of. Everyone thinks mini splits are just the units sitting there.
So we're actually losing you. Yep. Okay, we got you back. We actually lost you for a second, so You're back now. Yep.
Talking about the options of the way you can deliver the air on the inside of the house. And all are small, but they go different places. So traditionally, we see units in the hanging on the wall, up near the ceiling. That's what people generally think of with a ductless unit. We can do that. A simple way to deliver the air. Another option is to put it down on the floor, more like an old radiator. And it sits there, and it'll be able to keep out of sight, out of mind, much easier to deliver. We also have sets that sit in the ceiling. And finally, we have units that will go above the ceiling or in a closet and be ducted, so you don't have to see anything but a register coming into the room. So, or like
those are those multi-room units that you're talking about, like the stuff that goes up into the ceiling.
Yeah, that will go either way. That can be multi-room or one-to-one. So if you want a duct that has a more traditional register look to it, you can do that with a one-to-one system and hide that in a closet, never have to look at it. So some homeowners just aren't used to seeing that, don't want that in their aesthetic in the home.
It's very funny that you say that because I run into that often. People are like, oh, it looks like a hotel room unit or something like that. For everybody that I've ever put it in for down the road, let's fast forward for, 30, 60 days. They don't even notice it anymore. They're so much quieter. You don't even really hear it going on. It's just, you're just happy with the temperature that it's delivering for you.
Very good point.
Andrew, so let me get this straight. You can split it off into a house. Basically, if it's coming into the dining room, you can just split it off of that system to go into like the living room or into the kitchen area. Can you do that with those systems?
There's two different technologies on that front. The most common you'll hear about in the residential application is what they call a multi-head system. And that multi-head system will have one outdoor unit, and then it'll have multiple places to connect your line sets. So you can have up to 5 different sets of line sets going into that house.
Is this is it new now? Is it new? Is that new? That technology?
That's been in the market for 4 or 5 years, but it's really catching on now. Contractors are more comfortable with it, and they're more ready to apply that. So for homeowners, that means a couple things. It means you can have a indoor unit in each room, so each bedroom can control their own temperature. And the nice thing for most of us is a lot of us live in homes that have 3, 4 bedrooms, but only 1 or 2 of them have bodies in them. So you can set that temperature to 60 degrees in the winter. You can set it to 85 in the summer and save a whole lot more energy than even the extra efficiency of the mini split unit will save you.
All right.
But
So
oh, go ahead.
Let's try this, Sandra. I'm gonna present something. Okay, so I got a building that's 1,000 square feet. It can be a summer residence or it can be a year-round residence. It has a great room and has 2 bedrooms. So on a splitting unit, I could probably split that up. It could go through the ceiling, drop one into the great room, drop one into the bedroom, drop into bedroom 2, and we could be all set, basically, with the system. It could work that way.
Absolutely.
On a separate thermostat. Okay.
Yep.
Just for the homeowner, just an idea. Do you have any idea what something like that would cost?
It very much depends on the installation and how they're going to run the piping through the house, so forth and so on. But ranges on that are going to be $3,000 up through $6,000, somewhere in that range. So.
That's the number that I wanted to get, because we get customers who ask that. You know, how much is that going to cost? And it's always, if we can give them a ballpark, they're very comfortable with that. They understand it could be up, it could be down, but they've got that number in their head, and it's great. So that is actually now affordable as far as, and I'm sure the companies that do sell it and represent those that equipment, I'm sure have a, you know, either you can finance it or whatever you want to do. But very, very, very excited about this. This is great.
Yeah, it's great technology. It allows even features beyond that. We have another technology in the space that we normally started in this country using only in commercial applications called variable refrigerant flow. And that in commercial spaces, you'll see one outdoor unit that can handle 40, 50 condensers or 40, 50 indoor heads. So that's a wonderful for a big office building, things like that. We've brought that down to the residential space. So if we're talking about a 2,000 square foot home with 9 rooms, we can actually put a separate unit in each of those rooms. And that's only one pipe coming through the wall, and it branches off the unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's cool.
The unit. Very, very efficient, very, very clean and tight, and gives you a great comfort option to really, again, manage zoning in the home much more effectively.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, you say that price range 2, 3 to 6, and the guy that I use is usually between 4 and 4,500, and I'm sure, you know, not only is it the installation, you know, and like you said, where you're running the pipes from too, but it's probably also geographical. You know, some things are cheaper in different parts of the country than they are in others, so that probably helps, you know, in the savings a little bit if you're someplace unlike Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yes, it does change dramatically.
Yeah.
The other thing that is really important to think about with ductless, and if you're doing a one-to-one system in a cottage and you just want to get that cooling for the summertime for those 2 or 3 weeks where it's miserable, you can really get that unit installed with just a 3-inch hole in the wall and get the and it's a very quick install. So it's feasible for a contractor to be in and out in 3 or 4 hours, and that's just
amazing
labor savings.
Yeah,
for sure.
Very, very much so. Now, being this kind of product, how long has the product been around anyway, Andrew?
It has been around 40 years.
Wow.
Okay. And
I started selling in this country back 25 years ago, believe it or not.
Wow.
Really?
Good for you.
Yep.
Wow. So you've been at it for a while. So if you can just tell me, you know, products like this are always in, like you said, vast improvement, and things, your technology changes. Can you tell me, if you can talk about it, were there ever any setbacks? You know, like there's recalls on trucks. There's always something that you can always improve. Was there a period of time in the past 10 years where you had a problem with the systems, that they were breaking down, mechanical failure or anything like that? Or is it always just tweaking and retweaking and just making it better and more efficient?
You know, it's been an area we've been very, very lucky for a couple of reasons. A lot of the manufacturing expertise that the Japanese learned in the automotive business, they brought into the HVAC business when they started making these ductless units 30 years ago. And so we have that same really, really good manufacturing practice brought into this space. So I've had the luxury of selling HVAC from the more traditional models that we use in the United States with the furnace, air conditioner, ducted system. And then I've moved over to this technology. And the failure rates and the performance are just really not even comparable. comparable. The
Oh,
technology
that's fantastic.
and the Japanese engineering is just fantastic. We've been very, very lucky with these products.
And it runs on 220 volt?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
There is in other countries 110 volt options, but it's become used so rarely in this country because we have 220 to almost all residents, and it's a much more efficient way to run the system.
Now, are there any government rebates for your product, or is it mostly handled through local utility companies?
It's a combination. It all depends on where you are in the country, and having listened to a few of your podcasts, I'm guessing you guys have listeners all over the place. So
absolutely.
I would highly recommend that your listeners go on to our website, which is constantcomfort.com, and go under our rebate finder, and it will show you what government, what utility, what rebates we even have on those products when you're looking to buy.
Oh wow, that's great. That's a nice thing to offer them.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's very complex, and the statistics show that the average homeowner buys a heating air conditioning system 1.2 times in their lives. So good, they don't have a lot of experience. So we want to make it as easy as possible.
Absolutely. That's really nice.
I heard.
Oh boy.
I was talking to a couple of guys, like plumbers, talking about boilers. And in Germany and in the European countries, they change boilers. It's just like we change cars every 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They get new boilers in their house, like the Germans, like the Baderas and stuff like that. They just change them out. I guess it's a. Have you heard that? Have you heard things like that?
I've heard a little bit. It's from what I can tell, in Europe, you hear a lot about passive house in Europe, and that's an efficiency standard that is well beyond anything we're doing here in this country. So I think what's happening there is they're driving efficiency through regulation and through rebate at such a rapid rate that people are changing much more frequently because it's just to do so, and there are penalties if you don't. So I think there's a lot happening.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yep. Yeah, much more focus on efficiency, and also as a rule they're living in smaller spaces. So a new boiler isn't quite like putting a boiler in a 3,000 sprawling ranch. That's a different beast than doing it in a 800 square foot condo.
Yeah, no, very true. That is a big difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, this is a product that I would definitely look into again, because I'm just thinking for my own personal use. It sounds. See, I always thought I didn't know much about the system, but I remember when it first came out, the system had one hose for the room. So you need another system with one hose for the other room. I didn't realize you could kind of split it off and make it work and make it happen on that unit if it, depending on the square footage. So that's something that I'm very interested in myself personally.
Yeah, those units go down to 3,000 BTUs. So in Connecticut, I would strongly recommend just talking to a good HVAC guy and truly understand your heating load, because you want to make sure you get that covered or you have a supplemental choice. But it's absolutely a very viable solution and a very comfortable one.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw something on your website about efficiency calculator or something like that.
Yep. You can go on and take a look and obviously get a basic feel, but another plan there is to talk to your contractor. Most contractors can give you a good sense of what that savings might be, but as a rule, most people have 10, 12, 14-year-old air conditioners if they're thinking about changing them. And at best, those on average were about 10 SEER when they were installed. They lose a little bit every year, so it might be as low as 7 SEER, which is seasonal energy efficiency ratio, how the government lets us rate our units. The best we do right now with our SEER rating is a 33. So you can imagine how much more efficiency that and that's assuming, like we talked about, that you're going temperature for temperature. But if you're able to zone a little bit and turn those other rooms off, then that savings needs to be that much more.
Awesome.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
33. Wow.
Yeah. Is there any other general advice that homeowners don't really know about your system that they should know about it that we haven't touched upon?
Well, the one thing we didn't really talk about is controls. And controls are becoming very complex in the home. You guys are doing home contracting solving problems all the time. And every day I'm talking to somebody who's wanting a new device to control their heating or their lighting or their fish aquarium, doesn't matter. How do I do that on my iPhone? Can I tell Google to do that? Is Alexa?
Alexa, yeah.
We've created a lot of different ways that you can control. And if you're off on the beach in Barbados and want to turn your air conditioner on in Connecticut,
Sure.
we now allow you to do that on your cell phone. So
No, ain't you a big pants? Look at you, Mr. Big Pants.
yeah.
That's
Also,
good.
we also will let you talk to Alexa or Google and have her turn it up or down. So if Grandma's there and she doesn't want to get out of her chair to warm up, she has a way to do that.
It is.
Isn't that crazy? So amazing where we've come.
Well,
To where we are now. Jeez.
It's giving consumers options they want and making it easy to take advantage of those. And we're like any other company trying to find ways to make it easier for the people trying to use our tools. And staring at a thermostat you can't really see isn't quite sufficient anymore.
Yeah, I think the weirdest thing I've seen that's operated by your phone is if you have a trash cabinet, the ones that pull out. Now they have them so that you could press your phone and they open up for you. I'm like, why? First of all, your hands are full in the kitchen. I would think you don't have a.
You know where I want to go.
phone.
You know where I want to go right now with the whole thing.
Yes.
And I'm not going to go
All
there.
right, thank you. Andrew appreciates it.
Yeah. Alexa, could you kindly? Yeah. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
All
a
right,
couple
I wanna
other
go.
points I think that are good for your listeners to hear, and being contractors, you guys know this better than anybody, but the basics are always the most important to make a system run well, and changing your filter, a must. That's eating up energy in a lot of homes across the country. The other thing to do is have that system cleaned up and serviced every year by a good contractor.
Good.
It's not running efficiently if the outdoor coil is dirty, if you've got dirt all over your heat exchanger on a furnace, it's never going to give you the comfort you need. So
Sure.
take advantage of good contractors and get help managing whatever system you have, and that will make you a lot more comfortable and save you some money.
That's great.
Saving money is good.
Well, that sounds good to me. I mean,
You ever hear any horror stories that have to do with installations or products, or maybe not yours, but something similar? Or?
This is a question we ask all the time,
Yeah,
Andrew.
we do.
We ask this all the time. Any horror stories? Any that we have on our show? If you got one, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But we ask.
We find out all types of things, and obviously, being in the industry 30 years like I have, I've seen all sorts of things. And the most interesting installation I've ever seen was one of the technologies we have is what's called a package unit. And a package unit is basically a furnace and air conditioner all in one box, and it normally goes on a roof or beside a house and then pumps the ducted air into the house and returns it into the same box, which is a decent concept, and certain parts of the country have adopted that. In Arizona, where they had swamp coolers on the roof, they used to take those off and put these on. So it made for a good solution. What I found interesting is when someone put it on the top of their motorhome and was driving around. That's the installation I've ever seen. But you see for enough time in this business, that's for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was somebody thinking.
Yeah, I saw a redneck picture of a guy. He put an air conditioner in his back window in his Lincoln, and he wired it to his battery in his car. He had a freaking air conditioner in his window. How stupid. Anyway.
Yeah,
Jeez, I'm crow.
Down the streets quite often. We're in New Jersey. Our headquarters is here in New Jersey, and we get over to New York a lot. And I see those window units in the city there and wonder how many clowns have dropped one out the window before.
Oh, they have. I lived in the city for 10 years, and they do drop. And what's the worst is potted plants. I can't tell you how many potted plants. I've seen bang, wow, 20 flights up. Watch it. Too late, bang, Crazy, dude. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yep, Seinfeld had that with the air
That's
conditioner.
right. Yeah.
Kramer lost the air conditioner out the window.
Wear your
What's
heart
up with
all
these-
the time, just in case.
That's right. Absolutely.
Hey, you got a nickname for these systems? You call them Fujis or Fujitsus, or do you call them anything
Fujitsu. Yeah.
We don't. We've talked about that a little bit, but the industry has kind of called them ductless units, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense anymore because now we have air handlers where you can attach ducts to them. Some people call them mini splits. We hear that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
We just call it good technology, good solution for comfort.
Well, this was
That's spoken very well by a sales and marketing vice president.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. He knows how to walk that line,
He
baby.
does. Woo.
I'm telling you.
I do want to tell you I have something in common with you, Jimmy. I moved into my home here in New Jersey 2 years ago, and since have remodeled DIY 4 bathrooms. So having seen your recent bathroom upgrades and challenges, I feel for you. I've been.
Oh, dude.
I'm glad it's done.
You know, isn't it? I tell you, it is like one of the most stressful, mind-boggling. It's just like, how do we make this happen and keep that woman happy? You know what I'm saying? We're good with a coffee can and a tree. We're fine, but no, let's do it right.
I will tell you this, guys. I heard your show with the radiant heat, and that's great technology, and I really appreciate you guys sharing that with your audience. When I put my bathroom in, I was a little bit worried about my shower being a little chilly, so I put in a big towel warmer.
Nice. How do you like it?
Nice solution. I'd recommend that to your listeners too. A warm towel or robe after your shower is a pretty special thing.
I would
Very
say
nice.
so, man.
That's very nice. Yeah, and once you put floor heat in too, forget it. You can never live without it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's so comfortable.
You have.
Yeah.
It is. We went from it being useful to it breaking down. So all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, this floor's freezing. It's not supposed to be that cold.
Technologies, you find out real quick you're comfortable at cooler temperatures.
Well, thank God. Yes. Thank God your trash opener works. Thank God for that. I'm telling you.
He's old school with that, I think.
Oh yeah. Jeez. I'm telling you. I'm good, man. This was fantastic. What a great show.
Andrew, thank you very much for joining us. We really do appreciate you taking the time to appear on our humble little show here.
Well, it is my pleasure, guys. You're doing great work. I listened to several shows getting ready for this, and I enjoyed all of them. Keep up the good work, and keep helping us DIY guys on the straight and narrow.
Absolutely.
You got it.
We're watching you.
Keep doing good things over there at Fujitsu too for us.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.